Hello, friends. Welcome to the Career Guru Podcast. I am your host, Steve Yanofsky. What a glorious day it is to start your path in a new career. Doors are opening here at the Boston Career Institute even as we speak. And I'm here holding the key for you. So tune in, stay sharp, and enjoy yourself. This is going to be great. Hashtag Let's Career Up.
Greeting, my friends, conversationalists all across the fruited plain. I am your career guru coming across to you via the internet for the first installment of 2024. Yeah, I know. It's March. It's March, and I promise to be back sooner. But the guru has a good excuse for being away, which is what I want to talk about today. Not the most exciting topic in the world. I'm going to tell you a little bit of what transpired with me over the last few months and share with you some deep connections to your guru, some thoughts about what transpired with me and my family and so on and so forth, so we can get the year off to a good start moving forward from today. So over the last few months, right after the New Year holidays, I went to take care of my father, who lived in Florida. I, of course, live in Massachusetts. So my father took ill, and I went over to take care of him, which is what normal people do. They take care of one another, they take care of family, and which is going to be the topic of our discussion. Yes, the Career Guru does have a job, but the job took a back seat to taking care of one's loved ones. So I flew over there, and I had been there taking care of my father hands-on for several months. And I'd like to discuss that with you today, as to share this experience with you. And hopefully you'll be able to reconcile your personal life and your career, and be able to make space for what's truly important. Not everything in life is about career, or everything in life is about family. So unfortunately, my father lost the battle with the illness that he had. It was one of those sudden things, and he had passed away on March 3rd. So this is my first time that I'm actually able to record a podcast and not explain to you, but share with you how I was able to do this and still retain some grasp on my everyday work and being able to generate income in all that time, because when you don't work, guess what happens? You don't get paid. So this is the time to think about this when everybody's healthy, when everybody's okay. This is the time you begin to prepare in case something happens. So most people don't get to spend too much time thinking about the what if. It's the people who are in the hospital, or people who are with the loved ones in the hospital, who actually begin to scratch their head and say, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Well, my dear friends, and I'm quoting someone else here. I don't remember who, but I heard it on the radio quite a few times. When is the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When is the second best time to plant the tree? It's today. Well, hopefully for some of you, 20 years ago begins today, or today begins today. So preparing for a rainy day is one of the most important things that you can do, both financially and emotionally. In the time of distress, when a loved one takes ill, or God forbid it's you or anybody else close to you, that you have to become the primary caregiver, or at least a person who's able to help out in a pinch, you have to be prepared financially first and foremost. You must be able to adjust your career plans in real time without sacrificing the health and well-being of your own nearest family. So make sure that the job that you take, and possibly even outside of your job, you are able to enjoy the family leave that's available to you, so you don't lose your revenue. There are insurance plans available to you, which I highly recommend that you investigate and explore as soon as possible, right after this podcast post, and you're able to listen to it and digest this information, that you will right away be able to start looking into the various options available today from most human resources departments, and as an extra plan, just in case, from your local competent insurance agent capable of providing you with sound advice in times of preparation for when something bad happens. Because guess what? You can't skate through life without something bad happening. Okay? So in my case, I had to be away for more than 2 months and do nothing else virtually than to take care of my father, who needed full-time assistance. It's an interesting conversation, to have with your aging parents or even with your spouse, depending how old you are, to get these things going, to get your financial house in order. Now, what does that mean? A lot of people live paycheck to paycheck, and it's hard to set aside money for a rainy day, or it's hard not to raid a rainy day fund. And yet, this is something that you must address. We are commanded by various biblical sources to put away 10% of your salary, called tithing, for charitable causes. But we must also remember that charity begins at home. So you must give to yourself first, or be able to set aside some money. So make sure that you get into a mindset of daily giving. And when you do that, don't forget to give to yourself and to set aside some funds that will be available to you in case of a rainy day. And you must have emotional and physical discipline not to raid your rainy day fund. That fund keeps growing again and again and again. You can go and talk to your nearest financial institution about the various rainy day funds that they have available, or even things like specialty accounts that they may have, which may have a tax-deferred status, like the healthcare benefits plans that are offered by your employer that you can use towards healthcare. Okay, these are pre-tax, and by the way, the guru is by no means an expert on such accounts, but I do suggest that you seek out the people who are competent in this field, who will be able to guide you through these times, these murky times of difficulties, frustrations, and emotional heartache. There's all sorts of stuff that goes along, and money is the last thing that should be on your mind. Money to take care of your rent, your mortgage, your food expenses, your family's needs, and of course, the needs of your loved ones who you are taking care of, who may not have planned ahead. Okay? So please make sure you start setting aside some money for the rainy day. This is a very important aspect of your daily giving, whether it's $1, 50 cents, even a quarter. Maybe you can invest in one of these little piggy banks where you daily begin to put funds away that you can give for charitable giving. And like I said, don't forget that if you don't have a rainy day fund, charitable giving starts with you. Okay, if you're dirt poor, that does not mean that you still have to rip away from yourselves. You can give to yourself too. Just make sure it's set aside for that particular reason, and that particular reason alone. So, with that in mind, the rainy day fund is off to the side. Now, make sure that if you are the responsible party, or if you feel that you can be the responsible party taking care of other people in times of crisis when they're incapacitated, make sure that you have proper documentation to be able to do so completely and totally unmolested by anyone else. What does that mean? You must prepare official documentation, such as the power of attorney document and a healthcare proxy form that must be executed well in advance. Sometimes you can get this done at the time of an incident that may have just taken place, but at that moment in time, it's far more difficult to do. Do it today. Investigate this today. Make sure you sign the right paperwork. Make sure everything is documented and executed properly by a duly certified attorney who is able to provide you with this information. With that information, you will be able to make competent decisions as far as healthcare is concerned. And of course, you'll be able to make competent decisions as to how to deal with finances of your loved ones. If they have funds to take care of themselves, but they're incapacitated and they're personally precluded from doing so, you will be able to make these decisions on their behalf, both financially and having to do with their care. So with that in mind, a power of attorney, also known as a POA, power of attorney, and a healthcare proxy. Both of these documents must be executed in advance as soon as possible, and they must be kept in a safe place. Once this is done, if you have them, talk to the family, talk to your siblings. If you're going to be taking care of a parent or a child or somebody else, make sure you talk to the family and make sure who that responsible party will be, and so you don't have arguments moving forward. Designate the responsible parties and move forward with that. That way there's no confusion, no frustrations, no difficulties and issues. All of that should be done well in advance. If it's not, you're in for a rude awakening when the time comes. And you're certainly going to run out of your rainy day fund sooner rather than later. And you must have access to your family's finances if it's required, so proper care can be given. A lot of people have a lot of things in place. A lot of people have been setting aside rainy day funds into accounts and so on and so forth, but very few people think that they may become so incapacitated that they don't have access to that account anymore, or they do have access to it, but there's absolutely nothing they can do because they're incapacitated. And there's absolutely nothing that you can do because you don't have the right paperwork in place. So make sure you get everything lined up well in advance. I know how painful these topics are. I know that it's difficult and even morose to discuss one's illnesses and possibility of passing away, and yet it must be done. Make sure that there is life insurance or other forms of insurance are in place. Long-term and short-term disability insurances, though all those things cost money, they're well worth having if, God forbid, something were to take place. Make sure all the beneficiaries are properly assigned. Make sure that there's peace in the family. So these terrible, strenuous conditions, which put a tremendous strain on the family in times of crisis, and a lot of times families just break apart. They fall apart when a matriarch or a patriarch of the family falls ill. Then all, heck breaks loose. And this is something that you need to put a stop before it starts. You need to isolate the root causes of potential problems so they don't happen in the first place. Because if they do later on, it will be too late. Well, it's just going to be very difficult. But who wants difficult in times of distress, in times of crisis? It's bad enough in the first place. It's even worse if you have inter-family strife between loved ones. That is uncalled for and totally unnecessary. So make these decisions now. Put them on paper and have them properly executed. So by the time things happen, you are in full control of the situation. I hope I'm making sense. I hope I get a lot of questions sent to me as a response to the email address. So please, by all that's holy, if you're within the sound of my voice, please act on it. Okay? So remember that the email address is bcipodcast@bostoncareer.org. That would be bcipodcast@bostoncareer.org. So please reach out to me. I'm here to answer whatever questions I can while it's fresh in my mind. But do start acting on it today. Now, don't forget that if you're working in a dead-end job and there's nothing else that you can do with it, make sure you secure yourself a position. We're in Massachusetts, nothing better than the healthcare field, and no better place than BCI to come and to get your career started. So make sure that you have a career where people value your services, and will not let you go, and will provide for you opportunities through the Family Leave Act and other insurances that may become available through human resources. So make sure you set yourself up with a career, with a good hospital, with a good clinic where they actually take good care of you. And there's plenty of them around, and we can help you here with that. But let's move forward. I digressed a little bit for a little moment of selfish self-promotion. That's what I wanted to say. But there is something that we can promote here, and we're here for you. So I talked about the rainy day fund. I talked about the insurances, short-term disabilities, long-term disabilities, the Family Leave Act. Life insurance is certainly playing a major role in it. If something goes terribly wrong and there's a loss of life, pre-plan the funeral expenses. It is well worth the effort. I know how awful this topic is. I understand how terrible it must sound. But having just lived through this just a few short weeks ago, and having been embroiled in this absolute, there's no better word than hell, that you go through in and out of the hospitals where your loved ones are suffering, and procedures and this, and doctors and social workers and everything else. Take into consideration the wishes of your loved ones well in advance, and put that on paper. Go see those people at the funeral home and make the arrangements. It won't go to waste. Buy a plot. Select the casket. Select the service. And yes, you can haggle with a funeral home. You won't be able to do that at the time of loss, but before the loss, you can certainly stand your ground. And don't forget that places like Amazon and Costco, they sell caskets for a lot less money than the nice people at the funeral home, and they must take you there. But then again, I digress. But what am I talking about? I'm talking about prior planning. Prior planning prevents poor performance. Just sharing with you because it's still fresh and it's still painful. Okay? So I am here to answer your questions should you have any. Please email me at bcipodcast@bostoncareer.org, and I'm here for you to help you with that. So make sure you are able to go to these places and make all of these arrangements. You will save yourself a lot of heartache. You will save yourself a lot of time. You will save yourself a lot of money. Thousands upon thousands of dollars you can save if you pre-plan. So please do that. Your pocketbook will thank you. Your soul, your mind, your emotions will thank you, because you won't have to deal with any of that when that terrible moment comes. But in the meantime, you have to be secure in your person, you have to be secure in your possessions, and you have to be secure in your mind to be able to move yourself forward in this process today. 20 years ago would have been better, but since we didn't do that 20 years ago, do that today. Today, when you hear this podcast, start reaching out to these people. If there's enough interest, I will have another show. I will have another podcast that deals with this directly and in more detail with more guests. Okay? I feel a little bad, doing this show today about this particular topic, and this being the inaugural show for the 2024 season. I promised to make it up to you with some fun and exciting adventures. I promised you to bring in experts on criminal offender registry, on how to seal the queries and so on and so forth that may preclude people from getting a job. I intend to have financial and legal experts, come on board to discuss financial planning and so on and so forth. Human resources people, all of these folks are coming in 2024. We're going to get this done. We're going to hit the deck running, as they say. We're going to do great work this year together and assure that your careers can withstand all sorts of storms that life may throw at you. But remember, there's nothing like prior planning. There's nothing like having all your ducks in a row, making sure that all the paperwork is done. And unfortunately, there's no quiz at the end of this podcast. But just remember, power of attorney, remember healthcare proxy, rainy day funds, prior or pre-planning with the funerals, pre-arrangements with your family, making sure that there's one person in charge. If it's you, it's you. If it's somebody else, it's somebody else, and you will play the supporting role. But in the meantime, make sure to get the ball rolling on making plans. Do not wait till tomorrow, because tomorrow may be full of surprises. I've had plenty of surprises, and I had some prior planning in place. But all that notwithstanding, a lot more planning should have gone in, and etc. But hey, the guru's still here. BCI is still here. Yeah, so a little prior planning went a long way. We got through this. We weathered the storm. I didn't lose a single paycheck. And I suggest you start planning for that as well. Because to put yourself into further financial difficulties when the family is in disarray, when the loved one is in trouble, is, as they say, no bueno. So with that, I'm going to stop with this particular topic and get us prepped and ready to go for the exciting projects and topics that we have in store for us in 2024. If you have subjects that you want me to broach during this year and discuss them in person, please, please, please send me an email at bcipodcast@bostoncareer.org. And I'll be more than happy to research whatever topic that you wish and present it to you when we speak. Okay? So welcome back to all of us in Guruland. I welcome myself back to this microphone. I'm so glad that I am here, that I can talk to you, that I can discuss with you things that matter to me and things that matter to you. And I'm so grateful for your listenership and for your support. I know a lot of you had reached out to me during this time, and thank you. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I will address a lot of your emails in the upcoming episodes and answer the questions that people ask me personally and are open to me reading them out loud and answering them as we go along. I'm here for you, as I know that you are here for me. With that, I bring our first podcast of 2024 to a close. I thank you all very much. God bless you all, and I'll talk to you soon.
Well, friends and aspiring career gurus, this was fun. Thank you for tuning in. I feel enlightened, I feel empowered, and I'm feeling grateful that we spend time with you. For more information about Boston Career Institute, please visit our website, bostoncareer.org. Boston Career Institute has 3 campuses located in Brookline, Massachusetts, Malden, Massachusetts, and Lowell, Massachusetts. Call our toll-free number, 888-383-6058. For questions, comments, and or information about our podcast, email me at thecareerguru@bostoncareer.org. The Career Guru podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our website, bostoncareer.org, or wherever you stream your podcast. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your rating and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by PodPro Entertainment, The Career Guru lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. Hashtag the new radio. Looking forward to seeing you soon. All the best to you. My name is Steve Yanofsky. I am the Career Guru. May God bless you. Hashtag let's career up.